This is the reality of living in Korea and not being fluent in Korean. A popular opinion I see online is that Korea is probably the most English-friendly country within East Asia. And whether that's true or not, I feel like the statement lacks a lot of nuance, so I'm going to share my experience learning the language here while I'm working. I feel like the first thing that people forget is that these statements are often said in the context of tourists. And if you're planning to move to Korea specifically to work, unless you're going to be living every day like a tourist, which is probably not the reality, you're going to be running into so many more obstacles that even I probably didn't think about at first. Now, I know enough Korean where I don't really feel the language barrier in my day-to-day, but I think once I started having like doctor's appointments, making visits to the bank, or like even shipping a package home one time, I started to realize how many obstacles I was gonna have to face, and reality sunk in very quickly for me. So I realized really quickly that I needed to open those books again and lock in for real, but that was easier said than done. My main takeaway from starting my studying journey again is that I need to be very intentional with my study time and just my language learning process. I know online a lot of people talk about how easy it is to live in a bubble here, especially since as an English teacher, it is my job to speak English majority of the day, and people tend to gravitate towards people who speak the same language as them. So yes, most of my friends are American or speak English, and because of that, I feel like my intentionality, is that a word? So my intentionality comes when I'm forcing myself to be okay being in uncomfortable situations here. For example, my doctor, my dermatologist, I could definitely find somewhere where they speak English and like I don't have to worry about understanding a conversation in Korean or struggling to express my concerns, but I'm intentionally staying at the clinic that I have been going to since I went here, even though sometimes I don't always understand what they're saying when it comes to medical terminology. But how else will I learn if I don't stick around and make an effort to treat this as a learning experience, because that's what it really is. And I know people are going to say like when it comes to doctor's visits, they rather just have an English speaker or like whatever language they speak because it's something important and you want to understand every part of the conversation. I'm not saying that that's not an option. The clinic that I go to, even though one of the doctors kind of speaks English and like translation apps are always an option, but I feel like this is just one example of like I have to be okay choosing the uncomfortable option, because choosing the comfortable option in this case, I gain nothing because I'm not making a conscious effort to practice my Korean and just try. I feel like this might sound obvious and redundant to some people, but it's just been something that's been on my mind a lot lately, and I might honestly make another video talking about this because I have so much more to say. But bye.